Yeah, no, I mean, I had a very good teacher once tell me, she said to me, Vinny, look, based on the way you look, you have to be smarter, more articulate than every other guy in the room, because there's going to be like 50 guys that look just like you. And you have to set yourself apart from them somehow. Yeah.
All right. I think we can get started.
Yeah, I'm ready when you are, Gunter. Ask away.
Vince, thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. This is lovely.
Okay, thanks. So, tell us a little bit about yourself. Why are you an actor?
Well, that's a good question. I want to say I'm an actor because it makes sense. It's the one job I've had in my entire life, one activity that uses every ounce of my being. When I was in middle school, there was this really pretty girl. And in high school, in middle school, you know, boys can't talk to girls. So I followed her to drama club because that's what I do. And she said, oh, well, you know, I got to draw a drama club. You want to come with me? I'm like, yeah, sure. I improvised a scene and I fell in love with the passion. You know, it just was like hand in glove. But the less happy version of why I'm an actor is this. The only time my dad and my family would get together is when we were watching movies. Like we would sit down, we'd watch like Twister, The Patriot, Gladiator, hundreds and hundreds of times together, and it was the only time he was truly happy. Because when I came home, I had to be perfect, or else I didn't exist. So part of me feels like if I get good at acting, maybe one day he'll accept me for who I am.
Wow, wow.
Yeah. But honestly, it's quite enjoyable, the whole challenge of it from start to finish.
And you are a professional actor, so for you it's, you make a living out of acting, or?
I'll say I work a lot, but I'm not paid a lot. I set up auditions every single week. If I'm not in a show, I'm in a class. I'm not in a class, I'm in a show. I do a lot of community theater, a lot of independent film, voiceover work, whatever I can get my hands on. That's my thing. I work day like every other person. I work in a laboratory. Yeah, it's more exciting than it sounds. I work with blood and specimens and such.
Okay.
But, you know.
So, did you study theater, or so you
Yes.
work in laboratory? So you're a doctor?
No. I'm a phlebotomist. I just draw blood. That's all I do.
Okay.
But in another lifetime, I went to George Mason University in Fairfax, Virginia, where I studied psychology and theater. See, I believe that theater expresses the human condition, and psychology studies it. So I figured I could use both in my practice and in my art. However, with the economy the way it is, there's not a lot of room for counselors or psychologists, so I've been doing every other odd job you think of.
Do you think that studying psychology helped you as an actor
Oh
somehow?
God, yes, absolutely. Because it's all about understanding why people are the way they are and learning to listen, to truly listen. I mean, I used to work in a daycare and I say to the kids, are you listening with your eyes and your ears? And they're like, I am, Mr. Vince. Cool, if you were, I wouldn't have to say anything to you. You know? It just, yeah.
What other qualities? So actors, a good actor is a good listener.
Absolutely.
What other qualities do you think a good actor has, and what is the difference between a good actor and a rather poor actor? Do you think?
Their desire to get better. Bottom line is, a good actor will look at what they've done and say, okay, this is what I've done so far. What can I do to make it better? How can I listen to this person better? How can I react more naturally to what's going on? To me, a poor actor does the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. The definition of insanity, performing the same act over and over again, expecting a different result.
That's right.
I mean, don't get me wrong, those actors have a place in the world. For instance, Mr. Vince Vaughn, he has his Vince Vaughn-isms, where he repeats a joke over and over again, kind of juggling it. That works for him. He can get work with that. But to me, a good actor will take that tactic, set it aside, and try something different. How can they improve? Okay, the next film I'm going to be in will be more dramatic, more serious. something outside of my comfort zone. As Bryan Cranston once said, if the role makes me nervous, then I'm doing something right.
That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I spend a lot of my time just listening to successful actors, successful people, to figure out what their secret is. And it's just being hungry. Just being hungry to do better, to take on the next project.
Is there one project you are like most proud of that satisfied you the most in your acting career? Or?
That's a tough question, but no, I've had a couple. I want to say I Hate Hamlet at the Sketch Club Players. I did that a couple years ago, and it was a wonderful experience for me because it was about an actor who got very famous and successful off a TV show. Jim Corman, rookie surgeon, you know, but now he has a chance to play Shakespeare, to play Hamlet, of all things. And in the story, he meets the great John Barrymore, who played a phenomenal Hamlet for many, many, many years. And he helps guide him to perform this one monologue perfectly. And in the scene, it's so captivating because he talks about like how he was bombing left and right, but then for the one speech, it made sense. Every aspect, you know. To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether it is nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles and by opposing end them. And in the speech, he does this, and the whole audience is with him for that one moment. And it gives me chills every time I think about it. That one has a very special place in my heart. But I was in high school, and you know, doing all the theater classes, and we did this play called Jimmy Brunel's The Apple. We performed the scene over and over again. We took the show on the road a little bit, and all of a sudden they were stating nominees for Best Actor at this performance, and my name came up, and I actually won.
Wow.
In high school, of all things.
How did that make you feel?
It's just insane that I could be good at something. My whole life I've been told I've never been good enough for anything, you know. Oh, you did good here. You know, oh, you bowled a 175. That's great, son. Why don't you bowl a 200, and then I'll love you. That's the...
Is that when you decided to become a professional actor, to make that really your career?
That's when it just made more... Yeah. It made sense. And I've had a lot of interesting moments like that. It was actually in that theater group that I met a man named Joseph Daughtry. And he was a very big proponent of constructive criticism. It's very important for actors to have a thick skin to just see what people are giving you as guidance. You know, they're not trying to be mean, they're just trying to let you know, like, hey, blah, blah, blah. In that class, we were always big on, you know, this is a safe environment, and, you know, we won't pick fun, we won't try to hurt you or anything. But Joseph Daughtry, he came up to me and he gave me the most scathing, constructive criticism ever. And he even said to the teacher, no, Ms. Myers, he needs to hear this. And I still remember it to this day, and he brings it up every now and then. I walked right up to him and I shook his hand and I said, thank you. Thank you for your honesty. That's how he knew that I had a shot.
Wow.
It wasn't the award for Best Actor. It was that moment of, I want to get better, and I'm willing to take every single lump I can get.
And I want to get better, I assume, doesn't always mean I want to get famous. So is this,
no.
How do you...
No. To get better is to be recognized for quality work. I don't need to be famous. There are 3 reasons why I would like to be famous. 1, because I could. 2, so I could travel. And 3, to be roasted. I've always wanted to be roasted by comedians and for them to do impressions of me. There's nothing more entertaining to me.
I didn't even know the impression to be roasted, but
oh, that's part of the fun.
Roasted.
Oh, it's so fun. It's this thing where they get together and they just bash you for all the stupid stuff you do. I get giddy when anyone makes fun of like my isms that I do. I sometimes will mumble my words. I will repeat a sentence like 50 billion times, a question, or I'll just I have this smirk apparently that I do. I don't people just like always try to imitate it on me. I'm just like, okay, whatever. It tickles me pink. But honestly, if I can do good work where I can feel challenged and fulfilled and just feel like I didn't leave anything behind, that's what it means to be a better actor, in my opinion. I mean, if someone says, hey man, you did an amazing, like I did a performance of Othello once. This woman comes up to me and she says, I saw you in that play. You were so good in there. And I was, like any other person that gets praise, you get embarrassed, you know?
Well, or isn't it a mixed, at least for me, it would be a mixed feeling, embarrassed, but at the same time also kind of elevated.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But you're always thinking, but for me, one of the biggest problems is, you know, your own worst critic. I'm like, oh, I could have done so much better. This could have made more sense. But it just, you know, it's a wonderful feeling when someone who's never seen a play before comes up to you and says, you did a wonderful job. Wow. When you feel like you did nothing good, you know, it's that thing. I'm sorry. Please continue.
No,
I'm a chatterbox. So.
No, that's perfect. That's what I want, because I'm. Anyway, that's really interesting. So you did both theater acting, but also film acting. Is that correct?
Yes, I have 15 years of stage under my belt, 7 years of film, 3 years of voice work.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Theater for me is where you grow. Mm-hmm. Theater makes you strong. There's a beautiful saying. It's movies make you money, TV makes you famous, theater makes you strong. Now, the thing about theater is, and everyone's always afraid of it, you shouldn't be. It gives you a chance to get rid of all the crap, all of the things that are not working for the scene, because you rehearse it, you hammer it out. It's a free lesson in and of itself of how to become a greater actor, because you have to truly listen to the words, you have to listen to your director, you have to listen to the other partner in the scene. It's not just you saying words, it's living in the moment.
I always felt also that when in a theater play,
sure,
I spent more time to understand the whole story,
yes,
the whole setting.
Yes.
Whereas when you go to a film audition, it might just be this 1 minute, or you read your script, but you
focus.
Don't always have time to really get to know all the
details. But the thing is, like, the more details you have under your skin, the more nuances and discoveries you can make. That's why I like theater so much. Because I was in a dinner theater, and I would do the same role 3-4 times a week if I was lucky, and it started to become mundane. But then one day, I had these little epiphanies. Because we've been doing it so long, there's still a new thing to learn, a little aha moment that all actors that want to become greater strive for. That's what's exciting. You could do the same scene 100 times. A Meisner technique where you say line, 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 back and forth. But on the 1,000th time you've done it, you're like, that's why I'm saying this. That's why people should care.
But you have to be really patient for Meisner to understand Meisner or not.
Of course.
I mean,
it's not for everyone. Yeah. I'm not saying it's the greatest thing in the world. I'm just saying if it works for you, great. If it doesn't, oh well. Find your own path. Acting is free form.
Talking about training.
Yes.
Do you think you need formal training as an actor, or do you think you learn by just doing it? So you go to an audition and it may not turn out well the first time, but you do it again and you learn from your experience. Is that enough?
Honestly, it's up to the person. I mean, some people just have the natural understanding. Oh golly, what is her name? This very famous actress now, she's a blonde, she's in the Hunger Games and everything. She didn't go to, thank you, she did not go to school. But she's very successful because she found what works for her. Bradley Cooper was very well trained. Kevin Spacey's Al Pacino, De Niro. All of these actors are very well trained, and they've been successful. And there are people that have way more training than I will ever have, and will only be seen on Broadway, not even for a full show, maybe. But honestly, it all depends on the person. It doesn't hurt to have formal training. It doesn't hurt to have no training. It just depends on the person. The only thing that any actor I will give advice to is perseverance. That's it.
Yeah, you need a lot of that.
Oh yes, miles and miles and miles of it.
What about being able to deal with rejection? Because what even if you're a really good actor, it happens all the time that you go to an audition because only one guy gets a job and there might be 20 showing up.
You have to understand there's a role for every actor, but not every actor is for every role.
Yeah.
It's like dating. It really is. It has to be the right fit. And the way I look at it is rejection is just an opportunity to learn. Every mistake you make is just a lesson in disguise. That's what I view it as. And it fuels me. I had 2 terribly rough auditions 2 weeks ago, and they hurt when they said no.
What happened?
Well, I went to this one, it was an improv troupe, and I've always wanted to be a part of an improv troupe because I've never had formal training before. I go in, I perform the scenes. I don't try to be funny. I just try to play the scene as honestly as possible. And I make the callback, they gave me some great feedback on, and I go back in and I just nail it. I'm just left and right. I'm getting high fives and shakes from everybody. But I get the Dear John letter of, you just weren't the right fit for what we were looking for. And it hurt really bad. I was in a funk for like 3 days. But that's my normal modus operandi. If I don't get something I like, I bum out. But I had to look at the plus side. I impressed them with at least one of my monologues that I did, which is setting yourself up for the future. Maybe not right now, but maybe in the future. They suggested taking classes with them, like they always do. But it also meant that I didn't have to spend $22 in parking every Thursday for the next 6 months, which is a huge bonus for me, you know. You just have to take your lumps, learn from your mistakes, and move forward. Rejection is just the universe's way of saying, this one's not right for you.
Yeah, and it really doesn't mean you're a bad actor. And
no.
Especially, I mean, you gave the example, but they actually commented you.
You could have the best audition ever. You could have Robert De Niro come in there.
If you're not the right person, if you don't have that right personality they're looking for.
Exactly. If you're not the right fit, I mean, you could be the simplest thing. It could be your hairstyle. It could be the most complicated thing. Your personality doesn't mesh well chemistry-wise with the other scene partners. And that's okay, because it just means another opportunity is out there. So take your time, take your lumps, go home, read a book, and start over again. That's all I can say.
So when you look at possible jobs you
yes.
get as an actor, based on what do you make the decision to which audition to go or not? Is it
for me? Look, I am a crazy person. I will audition for anything that's male. Because of the way I look, I have to. When they say Caucasian, I don't care. I'm still audition for it. If they say African American, I'm still going to audition Asian, because I don't see myself as a color. I see myself as a storyteller. I audition for anything and everything because I want to get my numbers up. Because eventually, after 50 or so, one of them is going to stick. And I'm not necessarily auditioning for that piece. It could be like the most trashy audition notice of all time on Craigslist. But someone there could see it and be like, you know what? I want to use you for something in the future. I went to an audition, and I was terrible for the role, absolutely terrible. But I owned it. And they remembered that. And they called me a year later and offered me a role in a sci-fi movie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But when it comes to, I'm getting more picky the older I get because I have to conserve my money and everything. But when I was like, 2-3 years ago, I'd audition for everything. For me, I have a rule of radius. 30 minutes, I'll do it for free. 45 minutes, Shakespeare or a really good role. And beyond that, has to be paid for the commute.
Do you do a lot of non-paid jobs?
Yes, I do a lot of unpaid jobs. I want to say 90% of my work.
Oh, wow.
It's not by choice. I need the experience. I have actually got a reputation with the student filmmakers of Philly because I audition all the time. It was crazy. I was performing in, what's it called, Curtains at Players Club of Swarthmore. Guy comes up to me, he's like, hey, Vinny, how's it going? I haven't seen you since that last film shoot. I heard you're auditioning for Lost Control at St. Joe's. Don't worry about auditioning. You got the gig. Because I worked with them before. Nice. And
who knows, maybe one of them becomes a big shot producer.
Yeah, everyone tells me that.
They might remember you.
Yeah, I mean the golden rule of any profession is this: be someone people want to work with. You know, that's why everyone's nice to everybody. Even though there are some people that don't deserve your kindness, give it to them anyway, you know.
Yeah, but you got to make a living, right?
Absolutely.
Has this ever been a problem for you that you thought, gosh, I can't do that anymore, I don't make enough money, or not?
It's a struggle every day, in all honesty. Some days I'm like, do I really want to do this audition? I've just pulled down a 12-hour shift, breaking my back. I just got a black eye and training in Muay Thai. Do I really want to go to this audition after all this?
So you do martial arts? I think
I do. Yes, I do.
That's really serious. So you are.
Yes. I got a little shiner up here.
Yeah.
My coach gave me a hard lesson today. Part of it is it helps fuel my acting career, because like anytime you have a skill, you can bring it to the table. And I love action movies. I'm an action movie junkie.
Have you been in action movies?
I have, a couple. Nothing major. I've done a little bit of stunt work. Pretty much just getting punched in the face a lot. Chasing a lot of zombies and such. Shooting guns. That's one thing I like about film. I get to shoot guns. It's awesome. But in theater, I get to experience a true experience, a real moment. When it comes to acting, though, like, it's time. I wonder, can I really do this? Can I really make money off of this? My dad, I don't really talk to him very much, but I do reference him a lot when I talk about my acting career, because he one time looked at what I did. He saw me do Shakespeare. He thought, oh yeah, that's pretty good. But it wasn't until I did a dinner theater that he realized, okay, my son can make money off of this. He understands food service. That's his life. And for me, I don't have a family. I don't have kids.
Do you think that at that moment your father respected you, or was that always?
I think there's always a level of, he's a damaged individual and will never truly be whole. But I think that moment he was like, okay, I can see him doing this. I can see him making money. I don't have to worry so much.
How did you feel about that? Was that making you happy?
It made me happy, you know. I mean, it was kind of like this weird moment of like, okay, that's the one thing you said I can do. Well, I'm just being cheesy and campy as hell, all over the place. As Frank Salerno, the chief executive officer, that's what you call me making money. Crazy bastard. Yeah, but no, all the time though. Like, I came from a light blue collar family. You know, my mom's a nurse. My dad works at a 5-star restaurant, 5-diamond hotel. So explaining to them that I wanted to be an actor was a little bit rough. You know, they're not they work as hard as blue collar people, but they work in white collar environments. So I call them light blue collar. That's just a thing. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, not at all. Was there ever any pressure, or did you ever have doubts to pursue an acting career? Because
all the time. You know, I wonder, can I still do this? Am I good enough? I mean, rejections weigh on you after a while. It's like when you're training in like you're sparring with a guy, right? And he leg kicks you over and over and over again. The first 3 don't bother you so much, but the 40th and the 50th one, you're like, okay, maybe I've had enough. But then you get a gig, or you inspire someone just to do it for the hell of it, or a casting director looks at you and says, wow, I went on a journey with you. All the leg kicks go away. All the rejections just gets erased from my memory. I got into this union gig that's going to be shot in January, and it just totally erased the 2 bad auditions. No. The truly tragically successful auditions I had. They were successful on my part, but tragically I didn't get into them. And they hurt for 3 days straight, but getting that gig just erased it.
And it's also paid, I assume, right?
Yes, it's union, it's paid. I mean, to me, it doesn't matter that it's paid. The fact is that it's a professional project. That's what excites me, because then I'll be finally challenged. Do you have any idea how frustrating it is getting on set with actors that have never acted before, have no direction, have no idea what the script is about, or even the directors having any clue of how to take the direction? Yes. It's like pulling teeth. I feel like the old man on the set, just fixing all the little problems because no one wants to work. Yeah. Bunch of babies. But it's not my place to say anything. My job is just to perform the scene. But yeah.
You mentioned union. Have you are non-union?
Correct. I am non-union.
Would you consider becoming unionized?
Eventually. Union is a very bold step in any actor's career because it limits what you can do, certain projects and such. But the big issue for me is always the financial thing. If I'm not being consistently worked enough to pay off the dues and then make a living, I don't need to be union right away. I'd rather establish myself to the point where there's a term called SAG must join. That point where you've got enough work under your belt that you have to join the union or stop acting, then I'd be like, okay, let's go union. You know, that's my belief.
Yeah, and once you're union, you cannot easily get non-union jobs anymore.
Correct. You have to sign waivers, you have to maybe change your name or something, if it's paid, you know. But my thing is, Bruce Willis is a great example. He was offered an ungodly amount of money for Expendables 3. But you know what he did? He said no and went and did an independent film for $10,000.
No, really?
Yes, really. Something like that. He took a huge pay cut because to him, it's about telling a good story. Sure, he could be on set for 3 days and make, you know, $1 million. But that's not satisfying.
Right.
You know? That's...
And he has enough money, I guess.
Yeah.
So he can afford it.
But even then, you know, I mean, like,
yeah, right.
would you... It's like saying, you know, would you take $3 million to let people drill on your land for 1 day, tear up and destroy your land, you know? Or would you take $10,000 for someone to get all the corn off your land, you know, make it a reusable environment? Oh yeah, you're taking a huge pay cut, but you're helping your soul, you're helping your environment that you live in. That's just my thought.
Are there any things during your career that you're regretting? We would say, if I would known better, I had done this differently. Or
Oh, absolutely. I want to say freshman year of college. If I had been more aware of how stress affects me, I would have had better stressor abilities to cope with it, because I would be so stressed out from just life in general, work, not even working, just studying and being in plays and everything, that my grades failed so bad that I got on probation, excuse me. And I would have gone back and said, okay, we need to come up with ways to manage your time. We need to come up with ways to handle your ADHD. We need to just really stick to our guns with theater and actually do more with it. You know, those are the big things I regret, just not being able to cope with stress and being more gung-ho about following a program.
And it's hard to do that if you don't have a support structure.
No.
If there are people who don't understand what you're even talking about. And
yeah.
You don't,
and when you
feel like I'm saying it's my fault or something.
Yeah, it's my world, you know, and everything.
Yeah.
But without all that struggle, I wouldn't be as strong as of an actor as I am now. I'm not saying I'm like anywhere near like De Niro, Pacino range, or even Spacey range. But I'm saying is I have the work ethic to get there eventually. And I'm working towards it. And all I seek, honestly, is just better professional mentorship. I don't care if it's paid or not. If I can get someone that truly pushes me to the next level, I'd be tickled pink. I would pay them to let me be a part of that type of production.
Wow.
That's my thing.
Is there any advice you would give to people who want to pursue an acting career, like young actors?
Oh, tons of it. But the top 3 things I will say is this: when you're auditioning, for instance, be loud, so people hear what you are saying. Make bold choices from start to finish. If you start with an accent, finish with an accent. If you start angry, end angry, or come up to a resolution to why you're angry. And 3, be someone you want to work with. You know, be upfront. Talk to the people, converse with them. Never take advantage of anyone in the scene. Don't upstage them. Help them look good too. You know, the great leaders, the successful stories are this. When the team wins, it's because of the team. When the team loses, it's because of the coach. Be that coach that just stays in the background, you know, be support. In general, as an actor, I will say this. You are what you eat. Consume quality productions. Watch great films with great performances. Read great novels, plays, scripts, whatever you can get your hands on.
So you're reading a lot?
Yes, have to. I mean, I try to round out what I read, you know, poetry, technological books, like theater aspects, and even just in general about life, poetry, sciences, religion, because any little bits can help you out in the future. If you look at NCIS, Polly Perrette, the woman who plays Amy Shuto, she's actually a chemist. She's actually a scientist. And she, Big Bang Theory, nearly all of them are scientists in some respect. And it makes their performances that much more fluid and flawless.
And convincing.
Convincing. The best advice I can give, just actors in general, is just read, be willing to work, and enjoy it. If you don't enjoy the journey, get out. Don't ever say you want to actively pursue it professionally if you don't enjoy the journey. That's all I can say.
So when you try to understand the character you're about to play, how do you approach this problem? Do you try to become that person, understand him, and
it depends on the project, in all honesty. Some projects are just expansions of my own personality. A lot of films that I do, it's just, it's more of a crazy person that I have. Like Stanislavski believed that there are 3 types of characters: the head, the heart, and the groin. Heads are very smart, intelligent people who lead with their heads. Hearts with their heart, like a soldier, a father figure. The groin are self-serving, disgusting people. For me personally, if I am really invested and want to do a great job, I do a text analysis. I get all the information about the character, what the playwright says, what my character says, what other people say, my relationship, to define my relationships with the other characters. If my character was an animal, what would he be? If my character was a vegetable, the more information I can get, the better. Just mind that script. Honestly, I try to figure out 3 things. What do I want? What's in my way? How do I get it? If I don't have time to do all that fun digging that I like to do, what do I want?
When you're on stage or in front of a camera, do you experience yourself as yourself or as this other person? I mean, do you still draw a line between you and the other person? Or
I do my best to let the character take over. Joe Daugherty had me on as a producer. He was a producer on a film called Conversations with Killers, which never made it past day 2 of shooting. But in rehearsal, he had me do a scene where I was explaining to my handler, I'm a contract killer, and the reason why I kill is to protect my family. The better I am at my job, the better I can protect my family. 2 great things happened from that. 1, I convinced a guy to change the role for me, because I did not look like a tall Korean guy. I looked like a giant Italian. And I showed them the reason why he kills is to protect his family. And then I got to rehearse the scene with my scene partner. And it was really interesting. Like, there's 2 parts that happened to this. Like, first, we did the scene. I was Foro Stracuzzi, and he was, my handler and everything. And he threatened my family, like, split second. And I grabbed him by the collar and I wrenched him up against the wall. Afterwards, my scene partner came to me and he said, "That's not Vinny. For that 1 second, that was not him at all." And I kind of blank out when that happens, when you get to that point. And we actually reversed roles, and I got to play the handler. And I've never smoked a day in my life, but I pantomimed that I was, flicking ash, I was smoking, the whole 9 yards. I understood how to hold things, how to do things. And Joe, who is a major chain smoker, was like, "Dude, how long you been smoking?" I'm like, "Never. I just watch you." And the beauty of that project showed me that there's something in me that can take over when the role is right.
Do you think that acting teaches you a lot about yourself that you become aware of?
Absolutely. You have to, it's the old concept of the enemy within. If you can handle the enemy within, there is no enemy without. You have to understand every aspect of who you are before you can stray away from it. For instance, let's say accents, okay? Let's say you have to speak in a way that has little to no accent, and then when you want to learn an accent, you start doing things wrong, than the American accent, and it becomes a Southern drawl. Then it becomes New York, Brooklyn situation. You're saying words wrong, and that's the thing. You have to stray away from it. So knowing yourself as Gunter and as Vincent Ali, and then getting a character, you start doing things wrong, and then you become the character, and then things just kind of make more sense of how that person would move, how that person would interact with you, and such. And then, when you get away from the project, you start going back to the way that you would normally do things, as Vincent Ali and as Gunter. So, to me, it's being able to tell the story. And if that means you have to let go of who you are for a little bit, great. But it's always good to have something that brings you back. There's all kinds of styles. I could sit here and rail them off for you, but you got to find the one that makes sense to you. At the very end of the day, you're just two guys playing pretend in a sandbox. That's it. So, that's my belief.
One more question about auditioning.
Yeah, by all means.
Was there ever, what was like the funniest thing that ever happened to you in an audition? Do you have
Oh,
any,
God.
very funny things?
I got a few, but, yeah. So conversation with killers. I'm down in Virginia. I hop on my bus and I haul serious ass back to this audition in Philadelphia. I'm in Center City. I'm like weaving in and out of traffic, just trying to get to this place. I get into this audition, and it's like a panel of people. Like 6 people are there. 3 of the stars from their web series are there. I'm like, oh my God, you're the guys. This is so crazy. And, I saw you, and like yeah, man, it's great. Yeah. And you're like, oh, so you're ready to go? I'm like, yeah. So I start performing this scene as this self-absorbed bad guy I love myself more than I love anything else. My mom's died, but it's about me. It's not about her. It's about me. And I did the classic, like 90s, like, oh, I'll get you guys. I'll get all of you. And I just, they did infuriate me to the point that I just run right out of the room.
I mean, seriously.
I seriously run out the room because the scene moved me so much so. And I can feel them poking their heads around and be like, did he just run out of the room? And a PA had to come get me, like, you can come back in. I'm like, so I come back in all sheepish and shy because that's how I get when I do something really embarrassing. And the best thing ever happened. The casting director looked at me and she's like, where the hell did you come from? Because she never experienced that in her entire life. Someone who performed the scene and just ran out.
She will sure not forget you, I
Yes.
guess. Did you get it?
No, I did not.
Yeah.
It's understandable, but I had fun. At the very, very end of the day, student filmmakers in general can say, oh, we moved on from the project, we lost it, we didn't finish it, this, that, and the other. They can never, ever, ever take away the experience. That's the true joy of the journey. That's why I say, if you don't enjoy the journey, don't do it. Yeah. I had so much fun with it. I have that story I can pull out when I'm feeling like crap. Like, I was at this one audition. They were like, well, you were very melodramatic in your scene. It was good, but we wanted more realism. I'm just like, okay, well, they wanted to shoot it on the iPhone, so I was like, good for you. But they didn't quite care for what I was bringing to the table. But I was going home and I was just like, oh, you start getting down on yourself, like, why didn't I do this, why didn't I do that? But then you think, God, what have I accomplished? And it's a lot. I keep a master copy of every single audition, of every single project I've ever been in. And I look at it and I'm just like, this is like 15 years worth of stuff. It's like 3 pages long, small spacing, you know. And I pull up stories like that, you know, how I did the audition, came straight from another film shoot, ran out the room. They asked me where the hell I came from. And that makes me smile because I did something worthwhile. You know, I had a moment. Living in the moment is the best feeling in the world, where it doesn't become forced. It just happens. You know, every actor, every true actor is a storyteller, and they want that, where it's not just I'm reading lines, I'm dramatic. It's I went on a journey, and I want to go on it again. You know.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. This was lovely.
Thank you. It was fun.
Yeah, it was fun.